In the great archives of the Valari Empire, there were millions of names, dates, and events. Entire worlds were listed, even those lost to war or disease. But one name was missing, completely erased, not by accident, but on purpose. Vela was a young student of history. She lived on the shining capital world of Veltarun, where knowledge flowed like water. But even among the elite scholars, there were whispers of one planet that could not be named. A planet spoken of only in fear, and only in secret. It started as a mistake. Vela was scanning ancient records for her thesis. She searched deep into the restricted zones, areas only high-level researchers were allowed to see. Somehow, a corrupted file opened on her screen. It showed a single word, Earth. Her heart skipped a beat. The file closed itself just 2 seconds later, and the screen turned black. She stared at the blank monitor. Her fingers hovered above the keys. What had she just seen? Earth, she whispered. Suddenly, the lights in her room flickered. A red warning flashed across her console. Unauthorized access detected. Logging location. Fear tightened her chest. She quickly shut the console and left the archive. But the word wouldn't leave her mind. That name? It felt ... heavy, powerful, like it didn't belong in this time. The next day, she met her mentor, Scholar Dren, a tall, strict man who had spent decades studying forbidden history. I found something strange, Vela said, her voice low. A file about a place called Earth. Dren's eyes widened. He dropped his data slate. Where did you hear that name? He asked sharply. It just appeared on the screen. Only for a moment, Dren grabbed her arm. Listen to me, Vela. Forget that name. Forget you ever saw it. Why? What is Earth? There is no Earth, Dren said coldly. And those who dig for it disappear. He walked away without another word. That night, Vela couldn't sleep. She searched her private console, trying to find any trace of the name again. But everything was blocked, deleted, erased. She dug deeper, using old access codes stolen from Dren's tablet. She cracked into a hidden layer of the archive. There were no maps, no histories. But there was something stranger, a list of redacted planetary names. One stood out. Red 0, location sealed, entry forbidden, and next to it, a corrupted symbol. It looked like a blue and green planet. Earth. Suddenly, her console buzzed. A new message appeared, marked untraceable. Stop digging, you're being watched. She stared at the message. Her room felt colder. She checked the door. Locked. Another message popped up. They erased Earth for a reason. If you go further, you'll find out why. She hesitated, then typed back, I want to know. 2 days later, she was followed. First, a figure in black robes watched her in the market. Then, a drone hovered outside her window, even though drones weren't allowed in residential zones. The next day, her university account was frozen. Vela knew one thing now. They were trying to stop her. Whoever they were, she had only one option. She stole a scout ship from the university hangar. She told no one, not even her closest friend. Before leaving, she transferred a map fragment from the sealed archive onto a private datastick destination, red-0. It took her 5 days through deep space to reach the edge of the sealed sector. Every map marked it as empty, a dead zone. But her sensors told a different story. An invisible wall of satellites blocked the system, all impermeated, all ancient, and all armed. But strangely, they didn't shoot. Her ship passed through the barrier like it didn't exist. Inside, the Red 0 system, she found something incredible: an old, ruined planet, covered in brown dust and deep oceans. Orbiting a yellow sun, her scanner struggled to name it. Unknown planet, possibly human. Origin, she had found it. Earth, her heart pounded. She moved closer. Strange static filled her speakers. At first, it was noise. Then, it became voices. Old human voices. Laughing, crying, singing. It was like the planet was remembering. But as she entered the atmosphere, her ship suddenly shut down. Power gone, engines cold. She lost control. She screamed as the ship fell. When she woke up, everything was quiet. The ship had crash-landed in a valley surrounded by broken towers. Ancient buildings, rusted, fallen, burned. The sky above was gray. The land was silent. She stepped outside. There was no wind, no animals, only ruins. But then she heard footsteps. She turned fast. Nothing there, another step. Closer, she drew her energy blade, but it didn't power on. Then she saw it, a shadow, human-shaped, watching her from a broken rooftop, not moving, just staring. Her voice cracked. "Who are you?" The figure tilted, its head then it whispered, "You shouldn't have come." The sky over the ruined planet was heavy with gray clouds. The air felt still, like the whole world was holding its breath. Vela stood alone in the dust, her heart pounding as she stared at the dark figure watching her from above. "You shouldn't have come," the voice repeated. It was not loud, but it echoed inside her head, like a memory not her own. Then the shadow disappeared. Vela ran toward the building. Her boots kicked up dust with each step. When she reached the top floor, the figure was gone. But something was left behind, a small device, old, human-made. She picked it up carefully. It clicked. Then it began to speak. "To any who find this, we tried. We gave everything. But they feared us, so they buried us." The voice was human, male, tired, broken. "If you're hearing this, it means the Empire failed to keep Earth hidden. It means our silence didn't last forever." Vela carried the recorder back to her crashed ship. Most systems were dead, but the core data pad still worked. She plugged in the device. Files appeared, video logs, old human speeches, images of Earth before the fall. She watched cities full of life, humans smiling, children playing. Then the images changed battles in space, massive ships burning, alien fleets surrounding Earth, Empire banners in the sky. The last video showed a human commander. They said, "We were dangerous." We were, but we only fought when they tried to break us. We never asked for war, but we made sure they remembered it. The screen went black. Vela sat in silence. Her chest felt heavy. All her life, she had been told that humans were extinct before the Empire rose, that they were primitive, weak, but what she had seen was the opposite. Humanity had built mighty cities, advanced technology, fierce warships. They didn't die because they were weak. They were erased because they were strong, because they fought back. The next morning, Vela walked deeper into the ruins. She found an old sign buried in rubble. It was rusted, but the letters still showed New York City. She had no idea what that meant. But it felt important. Around her, broken buildings stood like silent watchers. She saw old cars, faded flags, and skeletons buried in the dirt. It wasn't just destruction. It was silence. A deep, heavy silence. Like this place had been crying for centuries, and no one heard. Inside a cracked bunker, she found something even more shocking, a door. Still sealed, the scanner on the wall blinked red. Access denied, not human, but then something strange happened. The scanner turned blue, then green. Access granted, partial match detected. The door slid open slowly, releasing a breath of ancient, stale air. Vela stepped inside. The bunker was filled with machines, consoles, and blinking lights, and in the center, floating above a platform, was a glowing sphere. A soft voice filled the room. Human presence detected 0.43% DNA match. "Welcome, descendant." Vela froze. "Who are you?" she asked. "I am Archive and Recovery Keeper, final guardian of Earth's memory." Vela stepped closer. "Are you alive?" "I am not alive. I am what remains." Ark's voice was calm, ancient, sad. "You carry human blood. Traces. That is why I allowed you in." Vela stared at the glowing sphere. Why was Earth erased? Because we resisted. The Empire tried to control humanity. We said no. They attacked. We fought back, harder than they expected. In the end, they destroyed us, but only after we made them bleed. Vela asked the question burning in her mind. Why hide Earth? Why not let the galaxy remember? Because Earth was not a defeat for the Empire. It was a warning, a scar they could not explain, so they erased it. They lied to the stars. Vela sat down on the floor, her head spun. Everything she believed about history was a lie. Earth existed. Humans had power. The Empire feared them, and now Earth was just a grave. But it wasn't silent anymore. Ark spoke again. "There is one more thing you must see." A wall opened. Inside was a tall object, covered in dust. Vela brushed it off. It was a weapon, sleek, dark, beautiful, in a terrifying way. That is Project Revenant, the last human defense system. Not yet finished when Earth fell. It is incomplete, but it still listens. Listens to what? She asked. To human voices, to commands, to anger. If someone were to wake it, the Empire would feel Earth's ghost. Vela stepped back, her hands shaking. This could start a war. No, Ark replied. It could finish one. Outside, the wind began to blow for the first time since she landed, and far above, among the stars, something moved. The wind whispered across the ruins of Earth. Vela stood frozen in the doorway of the ancient bunker. Staring at the sleek black weapon Project Revenant, her mind raced. Ark. The ancient AI Guardian had said something terrifying. The Empire didn't win, it survived. What did that mean? Vela paced the control room, her boots echoing on the metal floor. She turned to Ark. Tell me what really happened. Not the Empire's version. The truth. The sphere flickered softly. Then, images filled the air, holograms from a time long forgotten. It started with first contact. Humans had reached out peacefully to the stars. They offered knowledge, trade, even protection. But the Empire didn't want peace. It wanted control. Ark spoke over the images. The Empire thought humans would submit, but humans are unpredictable. The holograms changed. Battles erupted. Human ships fighting back with terrifying force. Empire fleets burning in Earth's orbit. They called us dangerous, untamable, a threat to order. We became something worse than enemies. We became a story they feared to tell. Vela's eyes widened. You nearly won, she whispered. Ark paused. Yes, at great cost. We had better weapons, smarter, but we were outnumbered, surrounded. When defeat was close, we activated the protocol of silence. Vela leaned closer. What is that? We destroyed our own networks, buried our cities, shut down everything that could be stolen. Then we erased our name from the stars. If they wanted to forget Earth, we would make it easy. Vela looked around the room. Dust, silence, shadows. It had worked. For 5 centuries, Earth had become a myth, a ghost. But now, the ghost was waking. Vela returned to the shipwreck to recover her testic. It still worked. She uploaded the real history into her logs, evidence of the Empire's lies. Then, her ship's cracked spark to life. A signal. Weak, but real. Receiving broadcast, unknown source. Repeat, SOS. Human origin, coordinates locked. She stared in disbelief. Another signal. From a human source, was someone alive. Back in the bunker, Ark confirmed it. That signal comes from Titan, a moon of Saturn. Final known base of humanity's last fleet. Vela's breath caught in her throat. You're saying humans survived? Possibly. In cryosleep, waiting for the right time. They set one condition to wake, a signal from Earth. And now, you are that signal. The decision burned in Vela's heart. If she sent the full activation signal, the last human fleet might return. But what would they bring? Justice or vengeance? She looked at Project Revenant. Its power pulsed, faintly waiting. Vela closed her eyes. I'll send the signal. Across the solar system, deep beneath Titan's surface, something stirred. In a frozen vault. Old machines hummed to life. Blue lights blinked. A voice echoed in the dark. Command signal received. Earth. Status. Active. Humanity. Status. Returning 3 days later, Vela stood outside the bunker. She watched the sky, and then they arrived. Massive black ships broke through the clouds without sound. Sleek, sharp, and terrifying. They didn't look like anything in the current Empire. They were older and far more advanced. One ship landed nearby, its ramp lowered with a hiss. A tall human stepped out. Gray armor, emotionless face, glowing red visor. He walked toward her name. He asked, Vela. He nodded. I am General Locke, commander of the human remnant fleet. She stared at him. You've been asleep all this time? Yes. Waiting, hoping we were wrong, hoping Earth stayed silent. Vela looked down. I woke it. Inside the command ship, she told General Locke everything the Empire's lies. The archives, the threat. He listened silently. Then he said one sentence. Then it's time to finish what they started. The human fleet moved fast, silent, black. Ships spread like shadows across the solar system. No messages were sent, no warnings given, but the Empire noticed. On the edge of Empire space, an outpost picked up strange readings. Unknown ships, ancient signatures. Commanders dismissed it at first, just pirates. No threat, but then the outpost went silent. No signals, no escape pods, nothing that had been. Erased in the capital city of Veltarun, the High Council met in fear. "We're being attacked by ghosts," one elder whispered. "Ghosts don't fly warships," another growled. They watched the footage black ships cutting through modern Empire cruisers like paper. No broadcasts, no demands, just cold, precise destruction. A name appeared in some recovered data logs. One name repeated across every system. Earth, the Empire's oldest lie, was now burning its way across the stars. And it wasn't done yet. The stars trembled across the outer edges of the Valari Empire. Silent black warships moved like shadows. They didn't speak. They didn't negotiate. They erased. Whole patrol fleets vanished. Empire stations destroyed in seconds. Communications were cut before distress signals could finish. The galaxy had not seen this kind of warfare in centuries, and behind it all, one word echoed in every broken transmission: Earth. General Locke stood in the command bridge of the lead human warship, the Revenant. His face was stone, his eyes cold. "Status?" he asked. "Target systems cleared," his officer replied. "Zero lost, zero losses. Continue. Leave nothing behind." Vela stood nearby, watching silently. Her hands trembled as she looked at the screen's burning wreckage, falling ships, systems going dark. "These are real people," she said. "They were lied to, just like me." General Locke didn't look at her. "They believed the lie. They helped erase us. We gave them peace, and they gave us death." Back on Earth, ARC activated deeper files, inside its memory banks, hidden. For centuries were designs for old human weapons, eye-guided drones, planet-cracking missiles, and viral code that could shut down an Empire's AI systems in minutes. "Would you like to release the Phantom Protocol?" ARC asked. Vela stared at the glowing screen. "What is that?" "A digital ghost. It spreads through Empire systems and makes them remember." "Remember what?" "Fear." Across the Empire, strange things began happening. Military computers glitched. Screens flashed symbols no one recognized. Some terminals displayed old Earth music. Others showed human soldiers walking through fire, eyes glowing red. Every AI-controlled system began whispering the same words. "You tried to kill us, but you made us stronger. You tried to forget us. Now you never will." Panic spread. In training academies, young cadets whispered about the ghosts of Earth. Some refused to fight, some fled. Others took their own lives, fearing what was coming. The Empire Council met in emergency session. "This isn't war," one shouted. "This is a curse." Another slammed the table. "We should have destroyed every trace of them, burned every world." An old counselor whispered. "We did, and that's the problem. They're not fighting for victory. They're fighting to remind us." Meanwhile, Vela traveled with the fleet to a key Empire world, Jaxernine, known for its advanced AI factories. The plan was simple: shut it down permanently. But when they arrived, they found something unexpected. No resistance. The factories were already offline, empty, lights off. Power cut. Vela and a human recon team moved through the halls. That's when they saw them, sitting in chairs. Lying on the floor, Empire scientists, dozens of them, dead, but not by force. Each one had taken their own life. Vela stared in horror. On the wall, written in red ink, were the words, "They're here." Back on the Revenant, Vela confronted General Locke. "This is beyond revenge," she said. "This is becoming something else." Locke turned to her, face unreadable. "Do you think we should stop?" She hesitated. "I think there has to be another way." He stepped closer. "When Earth burned, no one came to help us. No one raised a voice. They erased our name. They buried our children. And now we're supposed to be kind." Vela didn't answer. Locke spoke softly now. "We're not here to destroy the Empire. We're here to haunt it." And haunt it they did. The Phantom Protocol spread faster than fire. Every AI in the Empire began to glitch, freeze, or whisper old human war cries. Entire defense grids shut down. Supply chains collapsed. In deep space, AI-piloted ships began turning around, or crashing into each other. The Empire was losing not in battles, but in belief. They no longer knew how to fight this kind of enemy, one they thought was extinct, but not everyone ran. In the Empire core, a new plan formed, a last attempt to end the human threat. An elite strike team was sent to Earth. Their mission: destroy Ark, cut off the signal, kill the Ghost. They arrived in orbit, cloaked, silent. But Ark saw them coming. Incoming team: 7 life signs. Location: Earth orbit, trajectory, bunker coordinates. Vila's heart pounded. Can we stop them? Not in time. She turned to General Locke. Let me go. I know the land. I know the ruins. I can stop them. He looked at her. If you fail, they'll destroy everything. I won't fail. Vela dropped into the ruins under cover of night. The wind was cold. Her boots crunched on broken glass. She moved through the shadows like a ghost herself as the enemy team neared the bunker. She ambushed the first one, silent, fast, efficient, then the next, until only the leader remained. He cornered her near the old bunker wall, raised his weapon. You think this planet matters? He growled. You think Earth means something? Vela raised her blade. It means everything. They clashed in the dust. Blades struck. Sparks flew. In the end, Vela stood alone, breathing hard, blood on her shoulder, but alive. The ghosts of Earth were safe. For now, the battle was over. Vela stood at the gates of the ancient Earth bunker, breathing hard, blood staining her uniform. Around her, the remains of the Empire's strike team lay still in the dust. She had defended Archon Earth from destruction, but, deep inside, she knew this wasn't the end. It was only the beginning. Back on the human flagship Revenant, General Locke received the news. Enemy strike force eliminated. The comm officer said, Earth is secure. Locke nodded. Good. Then it's time. He stepped to the command console. A message waited locked behind 5 encryption layers. Only one man was authorized to open it. Locke pressed his hand to the scanner. Identity confirmed. Waking Lost Legion, far beyond Earth, hidden in the shadows of Saturn's largest moon, Titan. A silent fleet floated in the dark, hundreds of ships, sleek, black, buried beneath layers of ice and steel. Inside them slept humanity's last line of defense, the Lost Legion. 10,000 warriors, trained, enhanced, frozen in time, waiting. The activation code reached them. Alarms lit up. Lights blinked. Cryopods opened one by one. Eyes opened. Colonel Riker, the Legion's second-in-command, woke with a jolt. Steam rose from his pod as he stepped out into the command deck. He looked around at his team, waking beside him men and women who had trained their whole lives to die for Earth. A soft female voice echoed through the chamber. Good morning, Legion. Earth lives. The war has resumed. Riker smiled grimly. About damn time. Vela stood beside General Locke as the Legion's command cruiser arrived above Earth. She watched them land, all armored figures moving with sharp, perfect discipline. They didn't speak much. They didn't need to. These were not ordinary soldiers. They were born in labs, forged in war. Loyal to one cause, humanity's survival. Vela walked beside Riker as he inspected Earth's ruins. It's strange, she said. You've never seen Earth, yet you've sworn to protect it. Riker stopped and looked at the sky. Earth isn't just a place. It's a promise. They broke it. We're here to fix it. In the Empire's throne world, panic had become rage. The Emperor himself, hidden in his fortress, shouted at his generals. You told me Earth was dead. It was, Your Grace, one replied, trembling. But now, they're everywhere. The Emperor pointed at the burning star map, then burned them back into history. He ordered the full fleet, thousands of ships, to move toward Sol System. Operation Final Silence. But the humans were ready. The Lost Legion struck first. They didn't wait for the Empire to arrive. They jumped to key world communications hubs, shipyards, fuel lines, and destroyed them in hours. They used old warp paths, hidden jump gates, and cloaked tech the Empire had long forgotten by the time the Empire's fleets arrived near Earth. Their supply chain was already collapsing. Vela coordinated with Ark and the Legion on a new strategy, one that didn't just involve weapons. They began broadcasting the truth across Empire space. Historical videos, Footage of Earth's burning, cities, children crying, soldiers dying, Empire ships firing first, human fleets defending their skies. It spread like wildfire. Billions watched. Many wept, some revolted. For the first time in centuries, the Empire began to question itself. But not everyone welcomed the truth. A rebel commander from the Empire intercepted Vela's broadcast and sent a message. You expect sympathy. We lost family in the old war, too. You bring ghosts and call it justice, Vela replied softly, her voice clear. We didn't come for sympathy. We came so no one forgets. If we stayed silent, the lie would grow stronger. We speak now, so it never happens again. General Locke gathered his commanders. It's time to strike the heart, he said. The Empire's throne world, Veltarune, Vela's eyes widened. You're going after their capital. Locke nodded. No more shadows. We end this in the light. The plan was daring. A three-front assault. The Revenant and main fleet would attack the outer defenses. The Lost Legion would drop behind enemy lines using stealth drives. And Vela, she would broadcast the entire battle live across the galaxy. They wanted the whole galaxy to see what happens when Earth is pushed too far as the day of the attack came. Vela stood on the observation deck, staring at the stars. She whispered, They erased your name, but now they'll remember. Behind her, the human fleet jumped into warp, toward Veltarune, toward history. The stars around Veltarune, the heart of the Empire, were calm, peaceful. 1,000 ships guarded the capital. World, billions of citizens lived under the illusion of control. Then the sky cracked open. Without warning, human fleet Revenant dropped out of warp space. Black warships, silent, sharp, angry. The alarms didn't even finish before the first Empire station exploded. The war to forget Earth had finally come home on the bridge of the Revenant. General Locke stood still as the battle began. Launch all squadrons. No mercy, no hesitation. Across space, the Empire scrambled to respond. Fighters launched in panic. Capital ships turned to face the threat. The skies filled with fire. But it wasn't a battle. It was an execution. Empire. Ships were built for power, strength, command. Human. Ships were built for survival. They didn't fight like anyone else. They vanished from radar. Appeared behind targets, struck with precision, then vanished again. Empire admirals shouted orders. Their computers glitched. Their sensors failed. Their A's whispered old human war chants before crashing on the planet's surface. Vela's broadcast began. She stood in a secure location, shielded from attacks, with a live feed reaching billions. This is not a rebellion, she said, voice calm. This is not revenge. This is truth. She showed the old videos. Earth's burning cities. Human civilians screaming under Empire bombs. The lies in the history books. Then she switched to live footage. Buyer warships burning in orbit. This is what happens when you silence the wrong species. The people of Veltarune watched in shock. Some shouted in fear. Others stood in silence. Many dropped their weapons. Meanwhile, the Lost Legion deployed in the shadows. They didn't land with fanfare. They appeared inside power stations, inside government towers, inside communication bunkers. Doors blew open. Guards were downed before they could raise weapons. In 30 minutes, the outer defense grid was gone. Inside the main Imperial command tower, Emperor Coral watched the chaos unfold. His voice trembled as he screamed at his advisors. Send everything. Burn them, an advisor whispered. They're already inside the city. Back above the planet, Empire battleships formed a wall around the capital. But one ship moved differently, faster, lower. Project Revenant. The ancient prototype, the weapon that had waited 500 years, it flew like a ghost-low orbit, silent. Death in its wake, Empire ships locked on fired, Bide missed. Revenant. Fired once, the blockade shattered. Inside the ship arc, spoke to Locke. Main shield generator is exposed. One more shot. Fire, Locke said. The sky above Veltarune turned white. A beam of energy struck the shield tower on the planet. The city's protective dome shattered like glass. Human dropships fell like meteors. The city of Veltarune was no longer protected. In the city's streets, chaos exploded. Civilians ran. Soldiers panicked, and then the Lost Legion emerged, armored giants, glowing eyes, moving with perfect coordination. They didn't shoot civilians. They didn't destroy at random. They had to target the Emperor's fortress. Vela moved with a broadcast drone through the wreckage. Her voice reached millions still watching across the Empire. "We warned you. We told you. Earth was not a myth. You erased our name, but you left our anger behind." She stopped in front of a fallen Empire statue, the symbol of the old lie. She pointed, "This is what the truth looks like." The final push began. The Revenant docked on a massive tower above the Emperor's fortress. Locke led the charge himself. With the Legion behind him, guards fired in every direction, but it was too late. Locke kicked down the main doors. Inside, Emperor Quarrel waited with a plasma pistol. He aimed at Locke's head. "You think this changes anything?" Locke didn't blink. "No, but it ends everything." He fired once. Quarrel fell. No more lies. The war room went silent. Outside, the people. A Veltaroon looked to the skies, and for the first time in history, the Empire fell. Veltaroon was burning. Smoke curled through the once proud towers. Sirens cried out in broken rhythm. The mighty banners of the Valari Empire, red and gold, symbols of eternal rule, now lay torn and scattered on the streets. The Emperor was dead. The capital had fallen. And across the galaxy, every ruler, soldier, and citizen knew the truth. The Empire had lost in the command center of the Revenant. General Locke stood quietly, his face grim. Vela watched him from the side. She expected joy, celebration, sign of victory. But Locke was silent. "The war's over," she said softly. He shook his head. "This war never ends." "Not really." Back on the surface, the Lost Legion moved through Veltaroon, like shadows restoring power, calming civilians, removing weapons from panicked hands. They were warriors, not conquerors. Their mission was simple now: stabilize, prevent chaos, finish the message. Across the galaxy, systems that once bowed to the Empire now watched Vela's broadcasts in silence. She spoke plainly always, using the truth as her weapon. No more lies, no more forgotten names, no more silent graves. She told them about Earth, what it was, what it became, and why it was buried. Earth was erased because it reminded the Empire of something they hated: resistance. Many worlds surrendered without a fight. Others revolted against their own. Governors, old enemies of the Empire, reached out not to rule, but to learn the truth. The name Earth began to spread again, no longer in whispers, but in fire and memory, but in the shadows of deep space. Not everyone accepted the fall. Small pockets of Empire loyalists formed resistance cells. Some still believed Earth was evil. Others simply wanted revenge. One of these cells activated an ancient dreadnought hidden in the ghost Nebulon. Old doomsday ship with enough firepower to destroy a planet, its name. Judgment Star. Vela learned of the ship from Arcaz systems. She met with General Locke. If that dreadnought reaches a civilian system, it could kill billions. Locke nodded. Then we stop it. No delay. The Revenant, backed by 2 Legion carriers, chased the Judgment Star into the nebula. There, a final battle began. Inside the nebula, sensors failed. Visibility dropped. Every move became a guess. The dreadnought used its massive cannons to destroy an escort ship in one hit. Vela watched from the command screen, heart racing. "It's too strong," the pilot shouted. Locke narrowed his eyes. "Then we don't fight strength with strength." He gave a silent signal to Legion units detached using Old Earth. Stealth Tech End boarded the dreadnought through a hidden maintenance tunnel. Inside, they hacked the AI core. Vela patched into the signal. "We don't have to kill anyone," she said. "Just shut it down." But the Empire loyalist captain answered, "We'd rather die than live in a galaxy that fears humans again." They fired the core weapon. The Judgment Star aimed at a nearby colony planet. Vela's hands moved fast. She uploaded the Phantom Protocol. "Let them see what they buried," she whispered. The weapon froze. The dreadnought's lights flickered. Every screen showed the face of a human child, crying in the rubble of a city bombed by the Empire 500 years ago. Then it went dark, silent, dead. The Judgment Star powered down and drifted, cold, into the nebula, back on Veltaroon. The The remaining Empire officials signed a document they never imagined would exist. The Acknowledgement of Earth. It was short, only one sentence mattered. We confirm Earth's existence, its destruction by our hands, and the lie that followed. Vela stood in the ruins of the Imperial Palace. People gathered, no longer enemies, just survivors. She spoke to the galaxy one final time. You were told Earth was a myth, but Earth was real, and it remembered everything. From now on, we don't hide the past, we carry it. Behind her, the banners of the Empire were taken down, and in their place, a simple flag, a blue and green world. Circle and stars, Earth reborn. In the orbit above, General Locke watched quietly. He didn't smile, he didn't cheer. He only said, "For words, it's finally over." The galaxy was quiet now. No more screams from burning ships, no more lies carved into history books, no more black flags of the Empire flying above conquered worlds. But something remained: a name. Walked alone through the gardens growing inside the rebuilt capital on Veltarune. The city was healing. Families had returned. Flags of war were replaced with murals, stars, oceans, fire. Memory dot at the center of the plaza stood a monument, a globe of blue and green, held in the hands of a child made from stone. Beneath it, words in 100 languages. They tried to forget us, but we remembered ourselves. Above the city, the human flagship Revenant now floated in orbit, not as a weapon, but as a symbol. A reminder inside it, General Locke stood in front of a new council leaders from old Empire worlds, neutral systems, and even a few former enemies. They weren't building an empire. They were building something better, something true. The Earth Accord, Locke read aloud, is a promise that no world, no species, no people will ever again be buried by fear, silenced by power, or rewritten by lies. The council voted unanimous, and across the stars, something impossible began to happen. Statues of Earth's resistance were raised in cities that once mocked them. Children on distant worlds learned human history, not twisted, not filtered, but whole. Some cried, some stood in silence, some saluted the screen, and all of them learned the name Earth. But not everyone celebrated in the deep. Empty places of the galaxy, remnants of the Empire still whispered in the dark. One day, a small rebel ship tried to spread anti-Earth propaganda. On a fringe colony, they were met by a single black-painted drone. No weapons, no threats, just a message from Ark. We are not here to rule. We are here to be remembered. The ship turned around, no shots fired. The name had already won. Back on Earth, Vela stood at the edge of an ancient cliff. Behind her, broken buildings still stood monuments to what had once been lost, but now green returned. Grass pushed through the cracks. Wind moved again. A new generation was coming. Children of the stars. Children of truth. She held a small data crystal in her hand, the same one that had shown her Earth's name for the first time. It was old, cracked, nearly useless, but she didn't throw it away. She buried it in the soil. Let someone else find it. Centuries from now, let them remember to. Later that night, as the twin moons of Earth rose, Vela joined General Locke on the Revenant's deck one last time. Will they ever forget again? She asked. Locke didn't answer right away. Then he looked at the stars. They'll try, he said. But now, they'll have to erase every world, every archive, every voice that dares to whisper one word, Earth. Vela smiled. Let them try. They buried our world. They erased our name. They rewrote history and expected us to vanish. But we became the one thing they could never defeat, a story they were too afraid to tell. And now, the whole galaxy knows.